You see guys, I told you Dark Souls 3 would be coming back to the channel soon, and now we have returned. The Pokemon Go craze has kind of calmed down a bit. I was kind of going out every night and every day before work and just going around catching Pokemon, getting kilometers. I've been exploring my city a lot more in terms of going places where I never used to go, but that's all kind of died down now, especially since I apparently sprained my ankle. Because I normally do daily runs, and I've been running a lot more thanks to Pokemon, I guess. Just instead of running 6 kilometers, I'd run like 18. So yeah, I have to kind of chill out, and I'm basically forced to go back to Dark Souls, which isn't a bad thing. I love this game, and playing it a little bit has made me realize that yeah, I probably should be going back to this game because I am really rusty. If you watched my channel from the last Dark Souls content that I uploaded, the last build that I uploaded was this Hexer build. And I really wanted to give this a try and see how good it was in PvP. It's fun to use, but it's not really something that's going to necessarily be really consistent or win you a lot of matches. Because as you can see here, it's very easy to get rushed down on, and you constantly have to play the dodge game or play a little bit more reactive. Even though this is probably more than normal aggressive Hexer build, you are using spells like Black Serpent and Black Flame, but when your opponent is being like overly aggressive, unless you want to fall back on like a parry or something like that, I mean, using the Black Flame as a defensive tool is really good, like you just saw me do there, but you're mostly not going to be rushing enemies down because your weapons are just not as damaging as your opponent's weapons. And maybe if you use things like Dark Weapon or something, it might become good. But I went to try the Dark Infusions on my weapons, and I'm also using the Fire Whip for a few of my matches as well. As you can see there, that has some nice damage, but it's not always the easiest thing to hit. So I really wanted to try to rely a little bit more on my spells in these fights, and we won probably, let's say, 66 to 70% of our matches. I don't know. For every 2 we won, we lost 1, and sometimes we would lose 2 in a row. So it wasn't really the most consistent. So this is not a build that you want to use if you're going to be overly competitive. And I mean, you could technically just go like glass cannon style and go for like raw damage and just hope that you never get hit. But really, that's not really that practical. You will take hits most of the time. You will get traded out. You will get rushed down. You will mistime something, or lag will kick in and you'll get hit. So, like I mentioned in many of my other build videos, having a lot of health is really important. So I just kind of wanted to mesh the concept of a Hexer with the concept of traditional PvP tactics of having a lot of health, a decent amount of endurance. And I will link the build video, I guess, on the right-hand side of the screen. I probably already put it in the video a little bit earlier, but you can click it again on the right-hand side of the screen as it appears there, and if you want to see it. So we're rocking like 35 endurance, 39 health, 35 intelligence and faith, very low dexterity and strength, and as a result we're trying to use, like I mentioned, the Dark Infusion. The split damage is not very impressive, but we're going to make up for that with our spells essentially, right? You can see here that we're really good at, dodging and rolling away, but punishing opponents as they come into us, hence the thumbnail in the video, right? The aggressor rush down punish kind of thing. We're going to really try to punish people that come at us and try to just rush us down constantly. So if you're playing an overly aggressive opponent, it's not always going to work, but generally if they're approaching you with a weapon that they need to be running at you in order to get the good range on the weapon, so something like a katana, for example, or a spear, you can bust out the the spells, the Black Serpent, the Black Flame, to counteract them, because you likely won't, or the opponent most likely won't run at you and roll. Using like shorter weapons, it's a different story. When they just run in at you and then they try to just do the normal R1 combos, you have to be a little bit more careful and just space those opponents out a little bit better. In that last matchup, we also had to go home because for some reason I only had one actual Estus on me. I put the rest into Ashen Estus because I totally forgot that, yeah, you actually get summoned to Fight Club sometimes. But that's why I went home for that one. I know somebody also mentioned in one of the comments that you can press the options button in order to just quick exit out of a menu, and it definitely would have saved me there to prevent that hit, and it would have saved me in another clip that I fight later on as well. So I do got to start using that. And if you haven't started using that yet, I would recommend you get in the habit of it. It's just a natural thing just from playing other games. You mash circle to get out of the menu, however deep into the menu you got. So that's just what I'm accustomed to. But again, the options to just get straight back to the match after you ring swap is obviously a lot better because it saves you those extra seconds, which again could lead to you dodging an attack that I got hit with. So it can be very, very effective. Now, onto the spell choices. I discussed this a little bit in the actual build breakdown, but I've opted for a third attunement slot. In addition to Black Serpent and Black Flame, I went with Fire Surge. And this is really, really good because it has a lot of range. It starts up really fast when you have the Sage Ring +2, and it's good for like quick chip damage. I mean, a lot of people like to throw those throwing knives. This is better to some degree. It has a continuous like stream of fire that can catch people rolling around. If people are trying to come at you and roll into you, it can easily catch them as well. You can usually catch rollbacks. You can rush enemies down. You can actually spray it like kind of like a burst fire gun. Like if you ever played like a first-person shooter game, just tap the trigger to activate the flame, and you're gonna see me do that on the final match that we play. I think I triggered it 4 times and just burst out the flame and ended up chipping somebody to death. So it is really, really effective, and those little chips, they do make a difference, because if you chip somebody like maybe 4, 5, 6 times for about 60 damage each, that adds up, right? 6 times 60 is 360 points of damage. That's essentially a free hit while you were just kind of spacing your opponent out. And since with 18 attunement you do have a limited amount of FP, obviously, once you've used your Black Serpent and Black Flames and you can't cast anymore, you have that little sliver left of FP. Instead of trying to drink your Ashen Estus right away, you can kind of bust out that Fire Surge, because it requires such little FP, cause your opponent to maybe back up a bit because they don't want to approach you with that Surge active, and then once they back up, or once you see them rolling away, you can drink your Ashen Estus in a little bit more safety without having to worry about like looking for an opening in order to drink it. So if that makes sense, hopefully that did. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, weapon choice is totally up to you. I went with the S-Stock in the offhand because it does have the faster R1. This guy, I don't know, he bowed to me earlier and then he just didn't attack, so he bowed to me again there, so I was like, alright, let's restart the fight then. But I like the S-Stock in the offhand just because it doesn't have that like nerf that it got in patch 1.07 or 1.06, I forget, something like that. But the S-Stock still comes out very, very fast in your offhand compared to when it's in your main hand. So I keep that in the offhand just as a quick weapon to poke in with. In my main hand, I keep the Whip or the Goddard Twin Swords and the Pyromancy Flame. Again, the Pyromancy Flame coupled with the S-Stock is a really good combination. When you go in on opponents, they don't know if you're going to use the S-Stock, if you're going to use Black Flame, or just approach them and use the Fire Surge. I mean, that one didn't turn out in my favor because this guy's casting, and then I was stupid and tried to drink my Estus, and he hit me again. But we have a pretty good life lead on this guy, so I'm not too worried. Right there, we just barely missed the spacing on the Black Flame to finish him off. But nonetheless, guys, this is the build. It is a fun build, but again, it's not something that you're going to win like every single match with. It's just something to kind of add some diversity to the game. I've talked about this before, but there's not much diversity if you want to like be a tryhard in PvP. It's pretty much quality build, and whoever has the better I guess reactions, or whoever can. It's really sad. I don't want to boil it down to just like purely player skill, but weapon choice, armor choice, right, tactics. There's a lot of different tactics. There's a lot of versatility in terms of tactics and weapons. But in the end, I mean, you have your top tier weapons and everyone's using the same build. So I really hope the DLC mixes that up. I may do a video in the next couple of days talking about the DLC, because I am pretty hyped for it, and I do hope it does introduce a few changes, since it is From Software's chance to release a huge patch into this game and change up the mechanics. But nonetheless, guys, let me know what you think. And I really wanted to stream this weekend. I was just so caught up with stuff. Pokemon Go was half of it, I'm not going to lie, but I was caught up with a lot of other stuff. But I really thought work would have been a lot more lightweight for me this week, but apparently it wasn't. But I really do want to start streaming a lot more. I mean, you guys who were attending the streams were absolutely amazing. I absolutely had a blast the last stream that we did when I was trying to kill the New Game +6 Soul of Cinder with a whip. It was quite the task for those of you that tuned in. But anyways, guys, that is the video. Let me know what you think. We have returned to Dark Souls 3. No need to unsubscribe. No need to dislike the other videos. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Hey, and show your support. Drop a like and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thank you again. Quantum is out.